News every 15 minutes, weather every 10, and sports twice an hour.
Newstalk, KGVO, AM 1290 and now 101.5 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
The University of Montana is mourning the passing of its new sports information director. Good morning, everyone. It's Montana Morning. It's Friday, June 19th, 2015. A beautiful sunrise this morning. Pretty colors. Right now, the sky's overcast. We have 54 degrees in Missoula. Our newscast this morning is sponsored by Dig It Excavating, bringing 30 years of excellence to every job. Call 214-4292. Couple of traffic things you'll need to know. The traffic light at Russell and 39th is out right now. Law enforcement has been sent there to monitor that situation. Not exactly sure why it's out. It could have been an accident there. Also, there has been an accident reported on Broadway and California streets with one injury. Just learned this morning, the University of Montana Department of Athletics, this comes from Montana Sports Information, mourning the loss of Mike Hansen, who unexpectedly passed away Wednesday of natural causes in Missoula. Hansen was hired in April as Montana's Assistant Director of Athletics for Communications. Director of Athletics Kent Haslam said, quote, "The Grizz family is deeply saddened by the news. Mike was a dedicated husband and father, so first and foremost, our thoughts, prayers, and deepest sympathies go out to his wife, Jana, and his two children, Zach and Sydney." Mike had only been working in Montana for a short period of time, continuing the quote, but he already had made a strong impression on everyone he came in contact with. Everyone was looking forward to working with him and using his experiences for the betterment of Grizzly athletics. That's Mr. Haslam. Hansen spent the previous 7 years working at Alma Michigan College. He had also worked for the Portland Trail Blazers, Florida Panthers, Miami Dolphins, and New England Patriots. Hansen was hired earlier this spring to replace Dave Guffey, who is retiring this month after 37 years at Montana. Missoula city officials may have been happy with their district court victory in Mountain Water condemnation trial, but Mountain Water employees aren't ready to end the fight. Attorney Gary Zadek said he's currently drafting an appeal for the employees and will ask the district court and Montana Supreme Court to stay that decision. Zadek accuses Mayor Engen of pushing Mountain Water employees into a non-enforceable agreement.
This talk by the mayor that, well, we'll pay you this now and then we'll renegotiate. That under the law is called an agreement to agree. It's not enforceable because it's dependent upon a mutual agreement after 12 months or 5 years. If the mayor just says, no, you're going back to this or that, or we're going to have to lower you in line with the rest of the city employees, they either have to take that or leave. There's no guarantee against layoffs or the rest.
Attorneys for the city have expressed confidence that Judge Karen Townsend's condemnation order will survive scrutiny by the Montana Supreme Court. However, Zadek is confident his clients will win on appeal and points to a Montana Supreme Court ruling from 1987.
The Supreme Court of Montana ruled that city's ownership is not more necessary if it harms the employees, so they refused the condemnation. Well, obviously, that's still the law. That case hasn't been reversed. It's the same parties as the city and Mountain Water. While they may feel confident, I feel very strong and very confident that this decision, which harms the employees, is wrong. Fundamentally, morally, legally, the government shouldn't be harming these employees.
During a press conference Tuesday, Mayor Engen repeated his pledge to keep all Mountain Water employees under city ownership at their present salaries.
We've made a commitment to doing our best to make these folks whole and to keep them employed. And that's a promise that I made a long time ago, and I've continued to deliver it. And in fact, I delivered it under oath in district court in Missoula, Montana.
Engen said there are many longtime city employees that he hopes Mountain Water employees will want to, quote, join that team, end quote. Bail has been set at $75,000 for a 36-year-old Billings man charged with firing a gun at a Bozeman motel room and engaging in a 6-hour standoff with police while his 5-year-old son was in the room. Kenneth Markey Jr. made his initial appearance in Justice Court. Yesterday, he did not enter a plea to the felony criminal endangerment charge. 21-year-old Kenneth Hickman was sentenced yesterday in Missoula District Court for his role in the torture, beating, and shooting death of a transient Gilbert Jack Berry in August of last year. Chief Deputy County Attorney Jason Marks has details.
He was sentenced to 15 years to the Department of Corrections with 10 years suspended. What we charged Mr. Hickman with was assaulting the victim in the case prior to Mr. Lino shooting the victim and then throwing the body in the river.
Marks said Hickman's willingness to testify against Kevin Lino helped to bring the prosecution of Berry's killer to a close.
We offered this plea agreement in exchange for Mr. Hickman agreeing to testify should Mr. Lino go to trial. And And frankly, I think that's one of the things that led Mr. Leno to plead guilty, and he's currently awaiting sentencing.
Leno accepted a plea agreement that will send him to the Montana State Prison for 40 years. A Missoula man, Keith Jessup, appeared in Missoula District Court, Justice Court, to hear charges of felony theft after allegedly writing thousands of dollars in bad checks to Missoula businesses. In addition, Deputy Missoula County Attorney Carla Painter informed Judge Karen Orzek about Jessup's lengthy criminal history.
The defendant has a significant criminal history dating back to 2001, a conviction for unlawful transactions with children. 2002, criminal contempt. 2003, he received a felony criminal possession of dangerous drugs.
Pater said Jessup was also under investigation for prior sexual crimes against children.
One of the Missoula Police Department detectives is currently investigating the defendant for sexual assaults on a child. She's under 16 years old. That's given the gravity of this offense and the frequency with which he committed these crimes show that he is a risk to the community.
Some of the businesses allegedly struck by Jessup with bad checks include Bob Ward's, Cabela's, Hastings, Walmart, Shopko, Quality Supply, Mountain West Co-op, Fast Trip, Firestone, Magic Diamond Casino, Montana Lills, Albertsons, Safeway, CVS, Little Caesars, Ollie's, and Ace Hardware. He was placed in jail on $30,000 bond. Yesterday in Washington, Montana Senator Steve Daines introduced two bills to the Senate floor, which he said would provide vital infrastructure to rural Montana.
Water is a precious resource in Montana, and there are still rural communities that face barriers to access and are in dire need of clean drinking water. Water is a basic need of life. In Montana, we depend on a steady supply to irrigate our crops, to water our livestock, and provide energy through hydropower.
There are 11 projects already approved by the Senate that remain unfunded.
These short-term fixes must stop. It's time that the federal government fulfills its obligations and promises to Montana's rural communities and provides needed funding to ensure our rural water projects are completed.
Senator John Tester, co-sponsored the American Rural Water Project Completion Act with Daines. And speaking of Senator Daines, he agreed with me yesterday, proposing to place the image of the first woman elected to Congress on the new $10 bill. U.S. Treasury Department announced it will redesign the $10 bill in 2020 to feature a woman. Treasury Secretary Jacob Lew is taking suggestions. Daines says Jeanette Rankin, Montana, should be that woman. Our News Talk time now, 6:12.
Newstalk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
Mostly sunny skies today with our high temperatures in the upper 70s. Winds will be breezy out of the west at 5 to 15 miles per hour. We expect wind gusts as high as 30. Sunshine this weekend with highs in the 70s. I'm meteorologist Brooke Foster for KECI 13.